Welcome to this journey into the human brain and back. I'm so excited that you're here. I will be your guide tour in this journey. My name is Hagar Goldberg. I'm an educational neuroscientist, which means that I'm trained as a neuroscientist, and my research focus is on the intersect between neuroscience, brain science, and human learning. In this course, we will dig into the science of our brain, what's going on in this black box, and how it can explain the things that we experience, our personal and also collective human experiences, our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors. And learning about the brain from my personal experience can be very empowering and transformative because it really gives us a window into our inner machinery, into the inner processes that going on in our head and build our experience. So in this course, what we'll do is we will learn about the brain and especially how the brain makes sense of experiences and create memories. And we'll answer questions like why do we think in stories and how we can impact our story and self-narrative. So when I talk about self-narrative, and you'll hear me saying that a lot, I mean basically the story that I tell myself about myself. Okay, how the stories and self-beliefs that create our identities. So we will explore where they're coming from and how we can impact them and influence them in the most beneficial way, and also how it affects our brain. So through this journey, what I hope and wish for all of us is to be more familiar with brain science, but especially with the science and knowledge of your specific brain and story. And by connecting or making this integration between brain science and our own personal lived experience, to be more aware and intentional and engaged in your own process of growth and creating your own self-narrative. So to become the writer of your own life story. So this is a 4-week course. We'll have 4 major topics. Each week we'll focus on one topic and 5 learning modules each week. And in between the weeks, you have 2 days where you can just reflect, process, have a break, or it's also a chance to catch up on things that you might have missed. So the first week would be kind of introduction to the brain, or the ever-changing brain. So we will learn and explore how the brain processes information, how we make sense of the stimulation around us and our experiences, how the brain generates memories and stories. And the main theme would be neuroplasticity, which is the physiological processes that take place in the brain as a response to any experience that we have or any interaction with our external environment. So there are changes that are going on inside our brain through neuroplasticity, and we will learn all about it. Toward the end of the week, we will do some more explicit linkage between neuroplasticity and our inner narratives, or how our stories about ourselves affect neuroplasticity and also are influenced by neuroplasticity. So the second week will be about the social brain, and this coming right at the beginning of the course because we cannot understand the individual brain without understanding the social brain, or the way our brain is impacted and engaged with other brains. The human brain specifically is deeply social, and our development, neuronal development, as well as story and identity are highly impacted by the relationships and interactions around us. So one of our greatest superpower, or the brain superpower, is our social sensitivity and the ability of the brain to detect and process and analyze social information around us. So this week, we will focus on the tight connections between our individuality, our social relatedness, and the many writers of our story. So the third week would be to get very familiar and intimate with your brain and explore it with the aim to enhance your development, your well-being, with compassion and self-love and a lot of awareness in writing your own story. And week number 4 will be focused on how we can now take this information that we acquired about ourselves, about the brain, and really harness them and leverage them in order to create more powerful and beneficial stories that will promote our relationships, our well-being, and our performance and the next steps of our lives. So before we start our journey, before starting the course, there are a few things that you should prepare. The first one is just to be open and come with curiosity and full presence. When we go down this rabbit hole, it's going to be fantastic, but it also requires your courage and honesty to look inside yourself, to look inward. The second thing is we will do some tasks, and you are welcome to use the journal option on the Infijoy app, or to use your own personal journal if you like, really up to you. The third thing before you start is just make sure you fill up the pre-course survey, and then we're ready to get started. So once again, I want to welcome you to this course, which is more of a journey. I'm very grateful and excited that we're gonna do this journey together, and I wish us all a very nice experience.